And yeah, that would be a pretty weird thing to do. But then, all my life I've been called a weirdo. And after all, like all mammals, like all of you, I am nothing more than a dancing salt flat that shits mineral deposits and bleeds oceanic. And as if that wasn't weird enough, I'm the sort that likes to hide in dark corners and yet lives for the spotlight. But probably among one of the weirdest things I've done in my life has been to dedicate considerable time and energy to the study of Anglo-Saxon, better known as Old English, from which study I learned that the word weird originally meant fate or destiny, or more accurately and cheerfully, as the Anglo-Saxons would have it, death fate. As in, your weird is your fatal destination, not just the oddities and boddities of which you are made. And perhaps the best way for me to explain this is through Superman, which I did one drunk night when a friend asked me, "What is kryptonite to Superman?" Not knowing much about the subject, I thought I'd take a crack at the answer, so I said, well, it's his weakness, it's his flaw, it's his Achilles heel. But he just said, no, we've had all those answers, and it's none of them. And then it hit me. It's his weird. Because surely kryptonite is fated to be involved in the death of Superman, and yet the fact that he is an interstellar humanoid with fantastical powers who can only be hurt by kryptonite makes him pretty fucking weird. And yeah, I know this idea that we are captive to fate and divine trickery isn't so popular these days. So I suppose it helps if I tell you that my concept of free will is that of a train, running uphill towards a split in the tracks, repeating to itself, I think I choose, I think I choose, I think I choose, I think I choose. And that can be pretty limiting to your potential. Unless you begin to understand that wings are a limitation that enable birds to fly. The way this body has limitations that enable me to dance, kind of. The way this heart murmurs that I cannot bypass the medical inheritance of my forefathers, but I can take heart from their grim humor. The way my grandmother's storytelling moves this mouth, teaching my words to be host in kitchen and cook fire. The way I was raised from books of poetry, taught to speak from books of poetry, and find I would do little else besides. And in spite of this limited view, I would assure you that we are all unique snowflakes, all marvelously complex biological phenomena. Everything's just a great big puddle of dust to become microverse. But in spite of this inborn sense of agency, I would insist that things will be as they will be, and we are as we are. And what I am, as far as this limited self-awareness allows me to say, is a shy exhibitionist with an itchy brain, and the words, "Love is alive and its asshole tastes delicious," tattooed on my smile. Just another ragged stranger preaching a gospel of weirdos. And that might be why I like it when missionaries come speak to me. Like the young highwayman of Christ who ambushed me while I sat puffing grass outside the Joyce SkyTrain station. I bore him no ill will, but the look on that Mormon boy's face when I finished with him was priceless. In response to my telling him that I could care less what happens to me after I die, that as far as I am concerned, it is enough to struggle to live and live well while I do it, he launched into his bit about the cost of admission to paradise being my accepting Jesus as my Lord, and savoring the way those words tasted in his mouth. He was shocked when I interrupted him to say, "You know, I don't rightly know that I even believe death exists." With that, I began walking away, as this young missionary, like some slack-jawed disciple, followed at my heels, asking, "You mean you don't believe we die?" I reassured him that we do, that our bodies decompose and cease to be, but in that moment I was tempted to see if I might convert him to the view that we are an unending cascade of echoes and gestures, passing clouds turned mountains and ever-present sky. that when the body is gone, the breath remains.
Why is it